Hi, I'm Gareth. Welcome to my shed, and what we have here is a Tomy AFX Turbo, one of my favourite slot cars of all time, because they were my first slot car. So when I saw this little guy languishing on eBay with very little attention, I thought I would snap it up. But as you can see, just from looking underneath, it's in rather a bad way. Oops. And axle is absolutely lock solid. There's a little bit of a wonk going on the rear wing, but hopefully that's not too bad. Let's take a look under the hood. Jeez, that is so bad. Look at the amount of clag and hair on this front axle. So what I thought I would do with this is to celebrate the new Bulldog Racing chassis, of which I have one here, which is the Turbo's successor. And here we go. So this is the Bulldog, which, as you can see, is basically the same design as the Turbo, but with the addition of this nice front bumper section to protect your the pegs for the pickup shoes. So I thought I would convert this Turbo into a Bulldog. So I've bought all the parts from Barry at slotcarsdirect.co.uk, fantastic website and supplier for us here in the UK. And Barry is obviously one of the main creators of the Bulldog. It doesn't do a Formula 1 chassis yet. Apparently it might be in a paper liner sometime. Really hope it is. But in the meantime, let's get cracking. First of all, I'm going to put this body, I've got a bowl of washing up liquid water here, so chuck that in there, get that start to clean, and I'm just going to strip this down. I will obviously reuse these axles at some point, but they're so minging at the moment. I just want to get it all off the chassis. So we'll lift up the rear axle retainer. Can't believe how many of these my brother and I threw away when we were kids, whereas now when you actually come to race cars, you're like, God, I wish I still had the axle retainer, because the moment the chassis gets a little bit weakened at the rear, you start losing your rear axle. Best way to retain it? With a rear retainer. So don't throw them away. We had this misguided thought that we would lightening the car up by taking them off. Right, so there's the magnet retaining clip. Just comes off with a screwdriver just under each side. Nice and easy. So axles out, magnet retainer out. Let's just see if it does fire up. Nothing. No, this jammed solid. So let's get the motor out. So you just easy push up from the bottom, out it pops. There's the health and safety guidance plastic to protect young kids' fingers from the motor. And then the bar magnet just slides out. Guys, even that is disgusting. There's a lot of corrosion on the magnets here. This one especially. There we go. Get used to it being reversed. Yes, I think this motor is dead, so I will bin that. Pinion gear is probably all right, so we can just save that. Actually, I should have. I've got some. If you ever have one of those like little PQZ helicopters from a few years ago, they come with a great little tool for removing the rear rotor blade, and they're ideal for taking a pinion gear off in an AFX car. So good tip. Right, so I think this is going to go in the bin because that's dead. Chuck that. Somehow even the guide pin is rusty. I don't know how they've managed this. So we just lift off the pickup shoe. Ugh, so disgusting. Come on. There's that one. There's, oh my goodness, there's a lot of crap on my tweezers. Get off. Even the pickup shoe is covered in green corrosion. It's like it's had a battery leak over it or something. I've never seen this on a turbo before. It's absolutely mental. Right, where's the pliers? I'll just pull these out. I'm not saving these pickups. It's green. God, goodness sake, amazing. And it's the second one, just as bad. And then to get the pin off, just a pair of pliers and big tug. There we go. Whew. Right, so that's going in the bin. Gross, gross, gross. Right, so chuck this in the water as well and give that a soak. I'm just going to use some cotton tips just to give it all a clean up. Let's just get all this nastiness off my mat. Lay a bit of kitchen towel down for the water. There we go. So I'm just going to clean it up a little bit, and I'm not too worried about this body if it is a bit marked up, because this is going to be one that's being used for racing, not a shelf queen or anything like that. So see if I can get the lettering cleaned up. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be a nice little car. Good, good, good. Just with my little pokey tool. Pokey tool, just to get into the rear axle slots. Make sure there's no junk left. Right, that's all looking rather lovely. I'm just going to let that dry for a sec, and while I do that, because I take my son Dylan racing with me now, and Barry still had some of these left, so I thought I would snatch one before they completely disappear out of stock. Another brand new Tomy AFX Turbo F1 chassis. Nice. So now we've got two. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to build up two of these. So I have bought two Bulldog magnets. These are the sort of bar magnet, the replica of the old AFX one. We have two brand new motors. We have 4 front tyres, 4 silicon rear tyres. These are the ones that make it up to, was it 456 0.456 inches on the rear, I believe. We've got 4 new, these are called the buses, electrical buses, or some people call them shoe hangers, and it's the thing that the pickup shoe connects onto and transfers the power from the spring in the pickup to the motor, hence the name electrical bus. We have 2 brand new pins, guide pins. We have some lovely shiny new springs, very, very nice. These are Harden Creek low profile flat ski shoes, very nice pickup shoe, and my preferred one for racing, or the Viper low profile. I tend to just use one of those. Got a couple of new magnet retainers, not that they were strictly necessary for the one I've just stripped down. And in here we've got new gear sets. We've got a axle retainer, so I'll have to clean that one up from the other car. 1 set of gold shoes, 1 set of red. Well, that would be fun. And finally, 2 front axles. Now I do have some rear axles in stock somewhere, so I have to dig those out, because I thought, why order more when I've got them? So let's just put you on pause while I grab those, and then we'll get started. Cool, so got a couple of rear axles. Let's just see how the body's looking. Bit curious to see if this, yeah, there's a bit of stuff on the front wing, which might need something a bit more vigorous to get it off. It's not too bad. Rear wing's actually a bit loose. I wonder if that's why it's looking a bit drunk at times. All in all though, it's okay. It's not bad. Bit of a clean underneath. There we go. With my first one of this number 3 body, I actually painted the front wings to match the rear wing, and I think that actually looks better than just having the plain red. But, let me know what you think. Don't ask me to try and find it because it's buried over that side of the room. Right, well, we'll let this dry and we can crack on with the builds. So the first things first, when you're going to do a turbo, you can move this bit of kitchen towel now. First thing to put on when you do a turbo is the shoe hangers. These are rather nice new ones. The little dimple for the spring, which is an improvement over the original design. There we go. Nice, nice, cool. Oops. Then we'll do the other one. This is the one from eBay. There we go. Still got a little bit of rust showing around the guide pin slot. Cool. Right. Next, you need to put in the magnet, followed by the motor. Oh, don't magnetize rear axles, that's silly. Cool. So with these like the wide pan one, some of the turbos used to come with a narrow magnet which didn't have the ears on. The ear sits towards the front of the chassis, and obviously the gap is for the armature and the pinion gear to pass through. So that slides in like that. Cool. Right, so now we need to put the pinion gears onto the motor. It's important to note with oh, you've already been done, that's good. So when you used to get these these tabs for the motor would be sticking right out, and you'd have to fold them yourself to get them into place. These come pre-folded, which is rather nice, useful. So we push the pinion gear on, and then what I tend to do is I hold the chassis like this so the magnet is staying in place. And then I think it's red to the left. Now the trickiest part is to make sure that these motor tabs sit down behind the buses. So what can be easiest is to push the tab round so it folds more around the body of the motor. Push the motor into place, like so, and then, because this is your this is how you get really good electrical contact with the turbo, you need to get down there and move the tab back out again so that it is forcing pressure on the bus. So it really is as simple as that, though. Good. So now everything's quite nicely locked in place, and we can actually just pop the magnet retainer in. Honestly, these are just the most magical chassis. I know that the Super G is, and its, you know, derivatives like the BSRT and the Viper are faster and better racing chassis, and they're super smooth and all that jazz, but for home racing and just for ease of building, the turbo is hard to beat. There we go. It's just such a pleasing looking car as well. I mean, come on, look at this thing. It's just perfectly formed. I remember the first time I saw a 1/32 scale Scalextric chassis, and it's just this sea of moulded plastic, and I was like, that looks really horrible and toy-like, because compared to this, it just is. Oh no. Thought that wasn't going in very well. Yeah, this is a broken chassis. Guess this won't be a racing chassis then. Fortunately, I've got some more. And I'll explain to you why it's broken in a sec. Okay. Yeah, we have a break just here. So sadly, that one will be going in the bin. I've got some more over there, but we'll finish the build on one. What a shame. Never nice to see a turbo die. So we'll just repeat the process with this one, dropping loads of things on the floor. There we go. Pinion gears needs to go forward a touch. On goes the magnet retainer, and again we used to take all these out, but then it's done because it just holds it, keeps everything nicely in place. Good, so that's much better. So we can put in the pin, the pickups, the guide pin, and the springs. So obviously the springs just drop into the spring hole. And then the pickup, slide it over the hook at the front, push down, and then push back onto the hanger. As simple as that. I think when I was a kid, my brother and I used to do it the other way. And I always wonder why now, because it's so much easier doing it that way. So capture the spring, over the hook, push back onto the hanger. Now here's a little tip for you. For racing, you want to ensure that your pickups don't fly off, which they often do. So you just apply some pressure on the hanger, and you bend it forward onto the, I don't know if the camera's going to show this, but so that's the one I just did, and this is the one that I need to do. And all you're doing is you're just giving a bit more resistance to the pickup in the event of a crash that will stop it flying off. Okay. Which always seems such a shame because it's sort of slightly mangles the shoe hanger, but there we go. Right, that's on. Let's put the pin in, beg your pardon. And then it's just the axles to go. Job's a good one on this one. And I'll grab another chassis later, and I'll put the other car together for the other set of wheels and the magnet. about 10 years ago, I took 10 years, yeah, it might even be 11. I took all of my turbos apart to do what they call blueprinting when I was trying to make good sets, and here we are many years later, and they're still in pieces. So that'll be well, can you imagine an ASMR 12-hour stream of just me rebuilding chassis? It would be just so boring. Guaranteed to put you to sleep, wouldn't it? And now I'm going to put the hangers in the doodah. Doodah, on and on and on. Right. So these are the front hubs. These are the front axles. Well, this is the Lucky Bob wheel press. They're all the same, but just different colours and things. What always annoys me about them is they don't have. They come with this thing to hold the wheel, right? But it doesn't really work. And then even if you were using that, it doesn't retain it in place. So they need a better design where your hub is more captive and held in place a lot more securely, because what often happens is as you're screwing this in, you're sort of concentrating on this dimension and then it starts buckling up like that and you get a bent hub. And I don't understand why no one has come up with a better design of wheel press yet that's affordable and accessible for HO racing. Just feels like a no-brainer to me. There's one. Tiny bit more. Got a 34mm width just to make sure that this fits within that. So now we can put some front tyres on it. These are brand new. Gone for the rubber tyre because obviously you don't really want a lot of grip at the front. Wow, it's a really hard compound. That's nice. You don't want a lot of grip at the front. You want it to be as dirty and gunked up as possible. Not on the axle, unlike before, because you want it to be able to slide around the corner. And if you get grip up on the front end, then it's going to potentially flip your car off the track. So that's why I've not gone silicone on the front. Just going to tighten this up because I'd rather not have the axle just flopping around at the front. It looks a bit rubbish like that. Don't you agree? There we go. Oh, nice spin. Yep, good. Finally then, we've got a crown gear. I don't have the boss to go with it. I do have some shims. Well, this is a turbo axle, which does have the shim, does have the pinion saver. So the reason you have this block here is because when you're cornering, your axle is going to move, and when it's like so when you're coming around this corner, you're turning left, your axle is going to push away from your pinion gear. Now that's not normally a problem because you can shim up to the inside of the chassis rail, and therefore you're not going to have too much load on the axle. But when you turn right, the load is going to come this way and it's going to push on your gears, and that is where you get the issues. Now a lot of the times I used to, because I do love racing lifelike tees, and I used to make up my own axles. This is one of them where you've got like a wizard 22 tooth or a 22 gear. So what I've had to do is I've got a plastic shim there to shim it up to the chassis, and then I've built my own savers, because I used to lose so many races with car would be screaming off in the lead or racing really well, and then all of a sudden and just lose the race because the the gears would be stripped. So don't skimp on your shims. Oop. I'm going to take these quicker hubs off, and I'm going to put the new Bulldog ones on just to complete the build. One. Two. So once again, using the ever frustrating press, and I can feel the hub just squirming around under my fingers. Push off or push front, back. You just got to hold it and get it seated. Stop that happening. Let's crank it back out to put the rear one, second one on. Boom. What I like to do is fit the axle first, like so. Check your 34mm. You can see I'm way wide, although I could tell that because we've got this huge gap here. So what we do is we just shonk it back into the retainer. There. And groovy. Oh, it sounds good. Sounds. I really noticed actually. My first drive of the Bulldog recently at Who, and it's buttery smooth. Such a nice chassis to drive. Very excited about trying. I've got a Neo version to play with as well, which I haven't driven yet. But yeah, the box standard is a really nice chassis. Very excited about it. Should be racing. Oh, these things are always a pig. Come on. So easy to get one side on, not the other. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Leave that down. Leave that down. Obviously this will benefit from some running in, some lapping the gears with some toothpaste or some compound if you've got it. But I haven't got a track up yet, so this will not get a run out until a couple of weeks' time at Who for, that's Worthing HO Racing, for the June F1 round. There we go. I think that looks pretty banging. The body's still a bit manky, still not great. I'm going to give that another going over, but for now, and I'm going to fix this wing, I think, a little bit. For now, that'll do as a new Bulldog F1 car. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers.